to throw all this hate in the rear view. No doubt you'll need someone beside you who's come to terms with all this shit you say and do. We've been running for so long, forgotten how to get along. Staying with you feels so wrong, but I know you stay on my mind. You're so sick, you make me itch. I toss and I'm tired and my fingers twitch. The thought of you, it burns my skin to the bone. And still you're who I want to hold. Take it back, too much to unpack. The hate in your head and heart that you lack. The thought of you, it burns my skin to the bone. And I can't leave you alone. You're so sick, you make me itch. You burn my skin, still you I want to hold. You're so sick, you make me itch. I toss and I'm tired and my fingers twitch. The thought of you, it burns my skin to the bone. And still you I want to hold. Take it back, too much to unpack. The hate in your head and heart that you lack. The thought of you, it burns my skin to the bone. And I can't leave you alone. You're so sick, you're selfish, you're tactless. Still you're who I want to hold. I miss how we used to be weightless. And I can't leave you alone.
Hello, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Post-mortem time with your boy, LNobbins. Da 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 da. Ryan Cherki. Da 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 da. Absolute queen that he is. Oh, yes. Lovely result. Very cute moments. Perfect weekend for football, for City anyway. Chelsea have dropped some points, so that's nice. It just makes us further away from them. And Arsenal lost. That's great. Big up to Villa. And you know, you're forgiven for beating us, yeah. So big up to you. Big up to Matty Cash. And we won. Lovely stuff. A big amalgamation of lovely things have transpired today in the world of football. In today's post-mortem, I don't know if you guys could hear my doo-doo, doo-doo. That's just my touchscreen monitor turning off. We're going to talk about the game. What we liked, what we perhaps didn't like, what we spotted, identified in the game, what we noticed in the match. What was the press conference? I've not seen the press conference, Dom. Tell me more. What happened in the press conference? Let me know. Let me know. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Let me know. Yeah, so we're going to do what we always do on these. We're going to talk about the match, how City set up, how the opposition set up, what we liked, didn't like, and we'll end on the Finalysis player ratings. Also, absolutely, so many things to discuss today in what could have been a very tricky game, and probably what should have been a very tricky game for City. However, still able to get the victory, and a comfortable victory in the end. As you're coming into the stream, please make sure to leave a like on the video. I've got both those lights on. There's far too many lights going on here. Please make sure to leave a like on the video. It's free. If you want to go the extra mile, hey, you could become a member of the channel. Or do you want like a physical product? Because you might be thinking, Nobbins, where can I like sport some clothes that have this beautiful logo on it? And that, guys, is at LNobbins.com. The link is provided by the Nobbot right now. Okay, So let's take it. Let's start with the first half and like structure and what like the first things that we identified. Actually, no, let's take it all the way back there. Let's talk about the lineup. Actually, no, I haven't even said hello to the chat. How rude of me. How are we all doing today? Nevi. Hey, Ben, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Love that from you. Goodness. Yeah, Nevi says massive win. Big up. Thank you, mate. You are a Nabinho Ultra. Welcome to the Ultras Club. Your random footballer is a bit of a potentially touchy subject. It's a Gabriel Jesus. There we go. Former City player, of course, now at the Arsenal. Thank you so much, Ben. Love that from you. Welcome to the Ultras Club. Enjoy your exclusive videos. Enjoy your live stream perks. Enjoy my adoration, knowing that you are supporting your boy. What a game, says Abanab. Cherki the Goat. Hello, Dom. We got Eugene. Enge Hulk. I think I saw Mad Hatter in here earlier as well. Sean. Yes, there he is. True Citizen. Excuse me. Munyard. We got this prick. Don't know who this little bastard is, but I've never liked him. Yazan. Jambu, that's crazy from you. We got the Clark Kent. Quinton. Big up to my beautiful new member, Ben. Oos. And Louise, how are you? How is everyone doing? Hopefully well. Yes, well, not first ever, but this season, yes, because he got at least 2 last season. 1 in the Wolves game, and then 1 in the Club World Cup. And then I don't know about before that. But that is, yes, we'll get onto all the goals. But that was our first direct goal from a corner this season. And by direct, I mean the corner taker gets the assist. Crazy. But let's. But before we do that though, let's talk about the lineup, and then we'll get into all the goals and the games and how the side set up and blah 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 blah. So the lineup is basically my favorite go-to lineup right now. I wanted to have some fun with my preview, so I was like, maybe Marmoush can play instead of Doku, but I did know that he wasn't really going to start. So it was a starting lineup that we would have anticipated. Really, it's the lineup that started against Newcastle, against Forest and Bournemouth, and Liverpool. It's this really nice shape where I thought what was going to be happen. It's not actually what happened for the start of the game anyway. It's where you've got your back two, your midfield 3 becomes Nico, Foden, and Bernardo. Bernardo drops deep to assist with any build-up, and then you've got that front 5, haven't you? So you've got Nunes and O'Reilly holding the width, and then you've got your Cherki, false winger vibes going inside, Doku going inside, Holland as a striker. That's not actually what happened, though. Not at the start. Anyway, not at the start. Because what actually happened was to kick off proceedings, City actually had Nunes as the right centre-back, and he would still push on and support a little bit, but it wasn't Nunes holding the width at the start of the match. It was actually Bernardo Silva holding the width, and that is a dynamic that we have seen before, where Bernardo and Cherki basically swap places when it goes from the off ball to the on ball. But we saw that against Napoli, and Bernardo did it with Foden. So that's another way to get Cherki into this side. It does rely on a midfielder being able to play out wide, but that did certainly happen at the start of the match. And then I don't know what minutes the change happened. I just started to notice that at some point it did just go from we had the back 3, to more of the back 2, and Nunes then was the width holder out at right wing. I'm not sure what moment that was. I think it was basically the point in the game where City and Pep decided or realised that Sunderland aren't actually playing perhaps how he predicted, because let's just touch on Sunderland for a second now. They immediately just went straight away back 5. No nonsense. No nonsense. If you watch Sunderland this season, and I don't claim to have watched, well, in fact, I barely watched any up until the point that I was doing research for my preview, and then I did obviously watch a fair bit of their matches. Sunderland don't always play a back five right from the off. They normally have a back four, which then can turn into a back five as and when is needed. I don't actually think they even played a back five at all at Anfield, for example. So this is a side who are typically this season have been more happy to be a bit more proactive than I think people give them credit for, because they are a newly promoted side, so people think that they play like Sunderland, but that's not how they have been playing all season. So maybe Pep was anticipating that, hence he went with a back three rather than a back two, assuming that Sunderland would be playing how they have been for the most part this season. And then maybe realising whenever that change was, whether it was 15, 20, 25, I don't know when exactly, I'll need to rewatch the game, and then realising, oh, these guys are just chilling in their back five. They're actually not really coming out to play. They're just playing low block football. Interesting. I can commit another body to the attack then. And that's basically what happened. So my explanation for why did Pep change it from a 2 to a 3 to begin with, I wonder if it's because of that reason, because he was anticipating Sunderland being a bit more adventurous, and they weren't. That's a theory. I am unsure, but I guess it would make sense. Sunderland were very defensively disciplined. When they attack in a 4-3-3 generally. So I think their right wing back, I'm gonna have to look at the names because I can't remember all their names. He went to right wing, I want to say. Who was it? I think that's right, yeah. And then Traore went inside, and then Geertruida, the right centre back, went to right back. Yeah, that's what happened, wasn't it? Yeah, and then they attacked in their 4-3-3. Cool. But there was no like transition from what I thought there was going to be from going into their on ball to a back four and then to the back five. It was just like back five, back four, and then just like straight back into that. So Sunderland didn't really play how I thought they were going to play based on precedent. But hey, we take those, absolutely. And it presented a different challenge, I guess, because in my head, the challenge was going to be, right, they're going to commit a couple bodies forwards to our goal kicks. They are going to really rely on second balls, loose balls to physical battle and going long. And to be fair, they did go long quite a bit. They weren't that impressive at building out from the back themselves. They did get through our midfield a little bit too easily at times, which was a bit upsetting. But generally speaking, the main obstacle of that first half especially was they were just so defensively disciplined and they were so well organised. And I think a lot of credit needs to go to Sunderland, certainly for how they started the game. What minute did we actually score? So the 31st minute was actually when we first scored a goal and actually broke them through. And it did seem like it was going to be one of those games, looking at it, where it's like, because we had all of the best options on the pitch. Like we had Foden, Cherki, Doku, all on the pitch all at once. It wasn't even like a thing of where you look to the bench and you go, right, who's going to come on to unpick this low block? And there isn't really anyone that you'd want to replace. Like you wouldn't want to take off Cherki for Savio, you want to take off Doku for Marmoush. So it was sort of getting to that period in the game where, you know, we were constructing some nice attacks, but Sunderland were nothing properly clear cut at that point, and Sunderland were defending very well. We were defending very well also. They weren't really coming forwards, but we were still dealing with them fantastically well in that first half. Don't think they did anything. In that first half. So credit to us, of course, for that defensively. It did feel like it's going to have to be, oh my gosh, we're either going to have to rely on like a mistake, or we're going to have like a bit of magic, you know, like a ridiculous Cherki flick, or like a ridiculous Foden screamer from outside the box, or a bit of luck that goes our way. And it was a half combination of those last two, wasn't it? Ruben Diaz, 2 goals in the Premier League this season. The first time he scored 2 goals in a league campaign since the 21-22 season. So many, many moons ago was the last time that happened. neither with his head. It's just very, very funny. I still don't think he scored with his head, has he? Oh no, he has, just not from a direct corner. Just very, very funny. And there is a little bit of good fortune about the goal, because it does take a deflection. However, and here's the thing, in the same way that we saw Fulham score like a number of screamers against us, part of that was because we were backing off and we were seceding territory. If you back off and you forfeit all of that space outside the box, then you're essentially asking for those sorts of shots, and you're essentially inviting avenues for fortunate deflections, and suddenly a fortunate deflection doesn't become that fortunate. It actually becomes almost like an inevitability. Now, it did happen in our first one, in fairness, but you understand what I mean there. Of course, it's this fortune that it takes a deflection, but at the end of the day, it's still, the space is still being created by us forcing Sunderland back, and also them wanting to be back. So that's still worth noting, and it was a lovely finish, and it did feel like it had to be one of those goals in that game state, because can you imagine if it gets to half time, we don't score that Diaz goal, we go into half time 0-0, and now all of a sudden, Sunderland are more like, right, okay guys, let's properly lock in now, and it becomes like a ball ache of a game where we're trying to break them down. These sorts of games where you're up against a side who just wants to defend, the hardest thing is getting that first goal, and then hopefully the floodgates open if you can stop them from attacking. So that was really, really good and fantastic to see from Diaz. Lovely. Love that from him. Hey, maybe he can break. I think the most he's ever scored for City in the league season is 2. So, hey, we're still more than halfway through the season. Less than halfway through the season, sorry. Got the majority of it still to go. Can he get a third? That's the real question. And someone mentioned the spreadsheet earlier. I don't know what that means that Diaz is predicted for now, but hey, he's already scored 2 more than what we actually anticipated, so we love to see that. We predicted 0 for him because he doesn't score goals for City. Like, he hadn't scored last season or the season before that, so basically predicted 0, I'm pretty sure. So the fact that he's got 2 already is really funny. Finally, in addition to, finally Diaz has scored, although he has already scored once this season, lads, we actually scored directly from a corner. The first time this season where the corner taker has got the assist, and obviously it was going to be Gvardiol. Who else was it going to be? He seems to be our only true aerial threat from attacking set pieces. We discussed this at length in that one stream a week or so ago. It's only really a proper corner goal, exactly. It's only really Gvardiol who's offering that aerial threat. His run was really lovely. The delivery has been good this season, but it was a particularly nice delivery, and the goalkeeper didn't really have a chance. And then so finally we are rewarded from that, and I felt that we deserved that as well. So we deserved that goal from our good play. So yeah, not the typical way that City would be scoring goals this season. An outside the box effort from Diaz and a direct header from a corner, a proper corner goal, as Jack says. But we take those absolutely, and I think that based on the play, I do think that we deserved to be leading that first half. Maybe 2 is a little bit generous, but either way, I felt that we did deserve to be winning. We limited them to, as I say, nothing. I'm going to just double check. I can't actually remember them having a shot in the first half. I'm sure they had once, like somewhere, but I can't really remember. No, that's City. I can't even remember that easy door shot. It got blocked apparently in the 23rd minute. Cannot remember that. Laffy had a nothing shot from outside the box. Yeah, so they had nothing. They had nothing clear cut at all, which is really, really good for us. And we just dominated them on the ball as well. And they weren't engaging high either, which was very lovely to see. So we had no problems today with our build-up structure, because Sunderland simply didn't commit enough bodies forward, and even when they did, they just did not have that level of intensity to actually cause us a proper concern. They couldn't really close us down properly, outside of one instance in the second half, which we'll of course get into. But apart from that, it was essentially nothing. So that was fantastic to see. So that was the first half. I was very happy with that. As we all know, The key with City this season hasn't necessarily been how do we perform in the first half, because that's not been a problem for the most part. The problem has actually been how are you going to perform in the second half? That is the question. That is the key. And so far we haven't really. So I was really worried, and I think Fenway said it earlier, that what Sunderland were going to do was basically come out the second half and do what Leeds did to us, for example, at the Etihad, or do what Fulham have done to us, or do what Monaco have done to us, or do what United tried to do and sort of did to us, etc., etc., etc. That was going to be the key test for me. It's like, okay, if they do that, how are we going to deal with it? Because we haven't really learnt that much yet. We were 2-0 up against Leeds. Can we learn something from the second half? And I tweeted about this, and I think that I'm happy with my conclusion. I wonder whether Sunderland are just like absolutely fatigued from their encounter against Liverpool at Anfield, where they gave a lot and they played the day after us, because there was simply like no serious degree of pressing or intensity or even aggression in their play at all in that second half, apart from outside of like maybe like a 5-minute to 10-minute period. It was pretty docile. I believe, is it docile? I think that's how it's pronounced. It was pretty docile from Sunderland. It was rather lame and tepid from them for the most part. So that did surprise me, because that's not how they have played this season. I do wonder, therefore, is it because they just couldn't physically do it? Because it was only on, was it Wednesday that they played? And again, they gave a lot in that game, and they haven't really rotated that much. So perhaps that is simply all it was. Either way, it worked out really well for us. Massive questions weren't asked of us in the same way, and hence we didn't really struggle that much in the second half. I didn't really see a problem. The only time we did struggle was when Diaz did an insane bozo moment. Shout big ups to Donnarumma. That save is crucial, because if that becomes 2-1, all of a sudden spirits are up, mentality's a thing for both sides. The away fans are back into it, and then you've got a potential proper game on your hands. So that was a massive save by Donnarumma, so he deserves massive credit for that. So big up to Don. I think that was the only thing he had to do, but he did it amazingly well, so he deserves massive plaudits for that save. Absolutely he does. Big boy moment and a big boy save, like the save he did against United, where you're 2-0 up, but just because you got the 2-goal cushion, it only takes 1 goal to potentially shift the framing of a game. So fantastic save from him. Lovely stuff. And that's something that I always gave credit to Joe Hart for, and it's definitely something that Donnarumma deserves credit for also, is as a goalkeeper for City usually, you don't normally have to do much shot stopping. So the question is like, there might only be like 1 save in a game. So the question is like, are you going to be switched on for that moment and when you're called into action? Like Joe Hart was so good at that. He'd have nothing to do all game, and then like 85th minute random wonder save. And that just reminds me of like, it was like a similar vibe of feel. Like Donnarumma had nothing to do. First thing, bam, smashed it. So that was a really important moment in the game as well. That could have easily turned on its head. So that was big. Something I also noticed at the start of that second half, so even before that, this is going back to, was Pep preempting a Leeds situation with Sunderland? Because if you notice, at the start of that second half, City went back to Núñez at right centre-back. Jack, thank you so much, mate. 4 months. He says, take my money, fraud. Love that from you, Jack. Oh, just got a milestone. You're a random footballer. Oh, I was tempted to tweet about this player, but I didn't end up doing it. What context do you guys reckon I would have tweeted about this player? It's Ryan Giggs. It's a good pull, but why would Nobbins be thinking about tweeting about him? What's that all about? Let's see if you guys can figure it out. I'm sure you can. Yeah, so at the start of the second half, perhaps preempting Sunderland coming out and engaging a bit more, we committed a further man. we went back to Nunes in the back three. So it was Nunes, Diaz, Joško, rather than Nunes pushing up to start that second half. Again, I wonder if that's because Pep is concerned about what has been transpiring the past couple of games, where a team comes out aggressively and we don't have enough bodies perhaps to deal with it. That's a theory. I don't know, but that's going to be my suggestion. There was a slight weathering of a storm for like 5 to 10 minutes, which included that Donnarumma save. But apart from that, nothing else really transpired. It was essentially all City. Doku hit the post. I thought and we'll get onto the individual players shortly, but I felt Doku had a pretty standard game, and yet he still created a decent number of chances and also hit the post. This is sort of like what we saw today. I feel like is like that's like Doku's floor now, if that makes sense. Like if that can just be like his average, a standard game for him, then that's going to be a fantastic thing for us. Because even if he's like not exploding and being unbelievable, he's still able to create something out of nothing and be that goal threat. Yeah, so they didn't engage as high. They played into our hands in that sense. We didn't really have a concern. And we're just able to keep sustaining attacks. And we just kept going. And eventually, if you keep sustaining attacks over and over again, eventually something's going to stick. And at that point, of course, it did become a little bit more transitional because they're now 2-0 down. So they have to come out a little bit more. And I'm just lost for words for the third goal. I don't know if I've ever seen a Rabona assist live. I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever seen one at the Etihad. If I have, I can't remember it. I don't know if there's ever even been one at the Etihad, ever. I might be missing a famous one, and sorry if I am, but can anyone, like, think of one? Because I can't. A Rabona assist. I barely see a Rabona. Never mind a Rabona assist. Which is insane. It's insane. Yes, it's insane. And there may well be one, but I can't remember it. I seriously can't remember a Rabona assist. Which is crazy. It was absolutely beautiful from him. Yeah, he is two-footed. So funny. He can do everything. That was a Trivela, wasn't it? Cancelo to Haaland. Yeah, that was outside of the foot Trivela. I'm after a cheeky little. Unless he did another one against Dortmund, I'm after a cheeky little Rabona assist. I want to give pleasure. Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you so much, Spartacus. Nobbins was about to tweet about gigs. Was Nobbins thinking about sucking test? I think you're thinking of Paul Scholes. Your inner footballer is Alexis Sanchez. No, what I was going to say, what I was going to potentially tweet about Ryan Giggs was, if Cherki's here for like 13 years, a long time. He's basically here for his whole career, essentially. Leaves at the same age as Kevin De Bruyne. That vibe. He's already on 5 assists. In very few minutes. If he's here for like 10 plus years, could he? He couldn't, could he? Or could he? He couldn't, could he? Or could he overtake Giggs' assist record? Probably not. That's why I didn't tweet it, because I was like, well, Giggs was there for about 20 years, so almost definitely not. But the point is that it's a very good start. It's a very good start for him. And it's just very exciting. Absolutely insane. To even have like the brain to do, I know Yusuf, yeah. To even have the brain to go, I'm going to attempt this now. And not only attempt it, I'm going to execute it perfectly. Brilliant. I've seen the run. I know what I'm going to do. Bop. It's just glorious. I don't know how many players can do that. This player doesn't have a strong foot. Like, he's officially, apparently, left-footed. The lad takes corners and penalties with his right. He doesn't have a weak foot. He is like Santi Cazorla in that sense. Like, he just doesn't have a weak foot at all. This isn't like Kevin De Bruyne, where Kevin De Bruyne has a very strong weak foot. No, he just doesn't have a weak foot, in my opinion. It does not exist. Penalty to Leeds, big up. Wait, what's the score? Is it like... Oh, it's 2-0. Fuck. Well. Hey, the comeback could be on. Yeah, he just doesn't have a weak foot. It does not matter. Left foot, right foot, irrelevant. And this is why it's so important to... And we said that in the analysis video. It's so important to not shunt Cherki to right wing. Because if you do that, God, you're wasting him. You need someone like Nunes to push up and do that width holding job for him. Or I suppose Bernardo did it also. That's what you need. You can't, because I know there was lots of dialogue about, you know, where's Cherki going to play this season. And I just couldn't get the people who were like, he's got to play outright right wing. That can't happen. You're wasting this beautiful footballer. You've got to give him access to the centre. It's got to be done. So he was fantastic. And I think that I know that we mentioned that Sunderland didn't really press us that much, but also, in fairness, I do think that Cherki, and this isn't me having a go at Reinders, because you know I like Reinders, but Cherki being in the side, instead of Reinders also, does provide City with a bit more deep control as well, because Cherki is very competent with his touch and footwork at retaining the ball and knows when to release it and when not to, usually for the most part. So I think that switch also would have helped City as well. And so it transpired, and so it came to be. He and Foden have a fantastic connection. It's even a decent little header from Foden, also from the Rabona. Ha 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 ha. And Cherki could have had, like, I know, like, the first one is like a quote scam assist because it's all about the Diaz finish, obviously, but he literally could have had like 4 assists today alone, and that's only including the passes he actually played. Like, there were a couple moments where like Marmoush wanted the ball in behind like at least twice, and one time Cherki went for the shot, the other time like Cherki was fouled before he could do it. Like, this is a ridiculous player that we are dealing with, and there's of course no world in which Kevin De Bruyne can be replaced outright because he's Kevin De Bruyne, but he was the best option. If you just want to try to outright replace his passing creativity, then Cherki is the best option in Europe. There's a reason why I titled that analysis video analysing Europe's best creator, because I truly believe that, outside of Kevin, of course, I do truly believe that he is of that ilk and level, and he's experienced, sure. He's 21 years old. He's 21 years old. He does have like 5 years of senior experience already, but why can't he get even better as he gets an even greater understanding of the structure and setup that City have, as he gets more acclimatized to the new league and his new teammates and the expectations of him, and so on and so on? Why can't he get better? I think he's going to... Oh, sorry, is he 22? He's 22 nowadays. When's his birthday? Cherki, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Cherki. You are correct. Yes, he's 22. So we must have signed him at 21. Yeah, you are correct. 22. He's a young 22, August. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, and I like the term of an old young player. Yeah, because he's been playing top flight football since 2020. So that's insane. That's insane and very, very funny. And he's very, very lovely, isn't he? We love Cherki. And did you guys see... Did you guys see the video of like Foden celebrating? He's doing like this, like, oh! I just love how they clearly love each other. And again, it's so funny because I know it was just idiots. I know I shouldn't pay idiots any mind, but there was a lot of... Wait, really? Are you guys joking if they actually equalised? Surely not. I should probably put it on, shouldn't we? That is hilarious, man. Hello, Herbal, mate. I mean, Liverpool doesn't really matter anymore. They're not even in the title race anymore. But it's always funny if they drop points. Big up to Leeds, man. These guys are tricky, man. Imagine bottling a 2-0 lead to Leeds. It could never be my team. Imagine conceding a goal to Matty Cash. Could never be my team. Crazy. Shameless. Shameless. Bye, your boy. Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was saying, wasn't it? Idiots who said beforehand, oh, well, actually, you're not going to be able to play them in the same team ever. And actually, they actually don't like each other. Foden's trying to show up. Cherki with his first touches. So, oh, give over. Give over, my dear. Give over, my precious petal. Yeah? That was a load of bullshit. Ballers love ballers. Ballers love balls. You like to touch balls? Yeah, I love it. So come. That was my Pep impression in case anyone wasn't able to understand that. I'm sorry, I can't do accents or impressions. He says it like that, doesn't he? Ballers like playing with other ballers, and that's analysis for you, yeah? Hashtag. Don't forget to hashtag analysis. Yeah? Ballers love playing with other ballers sometimes. Of course, it's in a structured fashion, but why wouldn't Foden and Cherki love playing with one another? They're on one another's wavelength. Of course, you want to play with players who are on your level in that sense. So yeah, brilliant. It was always going to work. It was very, very funny when people were trying to suggest it wasn't going to work. It was always going to work. There are still question marks about the off-ball situation. We can always tighten that up. Absolutely, we can. But there was no doubt that in the attacking areas of the play, it was going to be a dream. It was going to be beautiful. Yeah, Cherki was really, really, really fantastic. I was very, very happy with that. I need to work on my Pep impression. I need to work on all my impressions, mate. I can't do impressions. I can't do accents. I can't do voices. I can try to imitate a fraudulent YouTuber, but outside of that, it's looking along for me. It's looking along. You know what I mean? It's looking long. Right, let's just going to come to the chat for a second, then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Before we get into the player ratings, let me know if there's like anything that you'd like, because when we get to the player ratings, we'll more touch on the individual in more detail. But like, let me know if like you have any questions on like structure or do an LB impression. I can't. I was going to press my bold button, but I don't have that anymore. Right. If someone sends in a super chat at some point in this stream or whenever, then come back and I'll do an LB impression for you, yeah? Then I'll come back. Because that'll make me bold. Honest slop is crazy. So hate Cherki, yeah, absolutely. What a little bastard. Leeds away will be a hard test, as Ash, exactly. Phone was impressed. Yeah, he was like, concerned any of our front four missing is a big hit to creation and control. Roger, the only one I can see breaking into the team at this moment, you say. Do it now. Why hasn't that happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Right, it's because it's £2 and above, but I will activate it. I will activate it there. One sec. For that, thank you, Jack. Right, okay, there's an LB impression coming up, guys. Where the fuck is it? Wait, I can do this. I'm smart. I have a brain. Wait. Right, here we go. Come on, Bray! How was that? LB says Bray a lot, doesn't he? What else does he say? What else are LB's catchphrases? I think that's pretty good. Yeah? Does that satisfy you? That was Cartman. I can't do impressions. I can't do impressions, guys. Oh, I accidentally just unfavorited something. Oh, that's a shame. I need to sort that out. How do I go back to normal? Oh my god, I don't know how to do this. Wait. Oh my god, I bottled it. There we go. That's pretty accurate. Well, I got horror and I got accurate. So someone's lying. Someone is lying. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for that. Big up to you, True Citizen. Alrighty, guys. What a shame. Oh, we had our fun. He likes... That's crazy. Yeah, you guys spoke too soon. You're crazy. Big up to you, Jack. Thank you for that. Fun PFA Player of the Year will be there. I need to work on all my impressions. I tried. I'm sorry, I'm not very good. Nah, I don't think so, Graham. I think they'll drop off. Who do you play right back against Vinicius? It depends. It depends. Who do you want to be in your attack? This is how I always frame this question now. It depends who you want in your attack. Do you want Cherki to be playing? In which case, Nunes. Do you want Savio to be playing? In which case, Kusanov. That's the way that I'm viewing it. It was a good goal, though, says Ben. What a shame. Pep said Savio will get more minutes. I hope it won't affect Cherki. Said Savio played really well. I mean, he's got to a... It'll be a lot to dethrone Cherki, wouldn't it, if that's going to be the situation. Are we getting a Madrid tactical preview? If I have, like, the time, then potentially. I was definitely going to do a post-match analysis, and I suppose if I get the time to watch enough matches to feel comfortable talking about them, then yeah, we can do that, can't we? Because I did do one for Napoli, and this is quite an important game, so that's the thing. Do you think when it's a slow game, it suits the likes of a Cherki, Foden? When it's a fast game, it suits more Haaland and Doku? I think Doku also suits a slow game also. Like, Doku's fantastic at these, playing from a stop-start. So I think he also suits a slower game, in fairness. There will not be a Boda Glimt tactical preview. I can confirm that. I don't care how tricky that match is, there will not be one. Kusanov as a right centre-back, preferably, says Natando. I mean, I know that Diaz made an error today. He did also score a goal. I thought Diaz played very well outside of that mental error, but it's going to be Diaz playing. I don't know if there's any room for Kusanov to play, because when was the last time Kusanov played? I think I've said this before, that I've not really understood the shouts for Kusanov to be starting more games this season, even though and I'm a big fan of his, by the way. The last game he played was Leverkusen, which in fairness is a Champions League game, but that was a mass rotated side. Before then, Swansea, a game in which he struggled in, and then the game before that, Arsenal, the game in which he had to come off due to injury. Is this a player that you want to be starting at Madrid? I don't know if that would be wise, because he hasn't played since the 25th of November, and that was his first start after that bad performance against Swansea. So I don't know if I would want to do that. I don't know why I'd take out Diaz from the side, who's been fantastic so far this season, and we've clearly got a very well-defined back four. You guys know I'm a big fan of Kusanov, but I don't see the need. I don't see the need to replace him instead of Diaz, and I don't see the need to replace him instead of Nunes, unless that right wing dynamic is happening in a way that I can't fathom, and or you just don't play Cherki. But I want Cherki to play. TK, yeah. So that's the thing. So, for example, if you imagine, like, although I guess it could technically work, but then you'd have to have Bernardo right wing, wouldn't you? Because the way to get Cherki into the side without Nunes is to just basically do what we did against Napoli, and also do what we did at the start of this game, which is basically swap Bernardo and Cherki. But then you now have Bernardo at right wing holding the width. So I suppose you could have Kusanov and Cherki into the side with it satisfying my brain, but that does mean that Bernardo goes right wing, and hey, maybe that is the correct call. In fairness, maybe that is the correct call. Just don't expect anything offensive from your right centre-back. And even then, actually, no, I'd probably take that back, because even when Nunes was playing at right centre-back today, he was still marauding forwards and providing support. I don't want Kusanov doing that, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the correct play. It's not... spoilers, I'm not going to predict it to happen either, and I'd just rather we go with Nunes, because that more readily facilitates Cherki. And again, I repeat, big fan of Kasanov. Big fan of all our players. Big fan of all of players. And I want all of them to succeed. Fenway, get this copyrighted right now, I reckon. Game copyrighted right now. Yeah? Okay. So that was just like a brief overview. It was a pretty straightforward game to watch and interpret. Sunderland didn't do much that was interesting. I think I mentioned before that their right wing back Mukiele, sorry about pronouncing names, he basically went up to right wing. Gertrude moved across, and the whole back four moved across. Hume playing at like left wing back did confuse me, but I think that's because of injury. He sort of had to do that because he's normally been the player who either plays at right midfield or right wing back. But obviously that didn't happen today. I think that was due to injuries. Xhaka, anonymous, yeah, has been one of the better players this season, but anonymous. I think basically all of their attackers were, for the most part. Yeah, I wonder if it was just a case of like fatigue making it untenable for them. Ruben, don't shoot. Well, now he's got that in his locker. Yes, there was a deflection, but hey, he still got it in. He still got it in, and that's what matters. And that is what matters. Thoughts on Marmoush doing those dead 50-minute shifts? Is he gone in the summer? I don't. No, I feel so bad for Marmoush because I really want him to be sharing the field with Haaland at some point instead of just he comes on to give Haaland a rest. Now, sure, that should be some utilisation of Marmoush because he should be a versatile forward at the end of the day. But it's just unfortunate for him because he's not going to showcase the best version of himself unless a proper number 9 is also on the pitch. So I do feel a little bit bad for him in that sense. I don't really have that much of an opinion on any of the subs, though. I felt that they were all like fine when they came on. Don't really have a problem with them. I felt Cherki should have played in Marmoush at least once, maybe even twice. Ake was fine. Didn't have much to do. Savio I thought was all right as well. There was one moment where he didn't do well 1v1, but outside of that I thought it was all right. So I didn't have a problem with any of the subs' performances. I guess like it's just a question of because obviously he's not going to accept. Randa should have scored, yes. He's not going to accept this role throughout his whole City career. You would assume. Might be wrong, but I would assume that he's got ambitions to not be that, and I would have assumed that he would have been brought to this club to not be that sort of player. So it can't continue if we do want to keep him. So I guess the question will just be, because structures change, don't they, all the time. It may well be that next season we use a totally different shape and all. Because right now it's hard to justify giving him a starting place. Partly because he's not been impressing that much when he has been given time. Of course, we can have the argument that he's not been given time to impress. It's that whole cyclical work experience thing, isn't it? It's like you need 5 years experience to get this job. Right, but how do I get the experience? Because all the players are saying this. So, of course, it is that thing as well. You do also need to impress when you come on, and it's hard for him to do that. But it's also hard to justify not playing. Because if we're saying he should start today, it was something that I like the idea of. But that does mean you can't start Doku or Haaland or Cherki. Got to drop one of those three to accommodate him. And unfortunately for him, right now, he's not a player worth accommodating. And that sounds very mean, but it is a reality of the situation. We don't need him in the side right now. What's Marmoush's best asset and attributes? Well, it's making runs behind, yes, of course. But just generally speaking, it's also just like scoring goals and being a shooter. We're doing pretty good for scoring goals right now. He's not a player who we're like desperate. We desperately need to get into the starting 11 right now. I don't think he's like a Cherki where, for me, it was imperative that we get him into the side as soon as possible. And if we can try to make him a starter as soon as possible, we're going to have a good time. I still think that's the case with Ait Nouri as well, even though I'm a big fan of O'Reilly. I do think that longer term, if we can get Aït-Nouri up and running, I do think that he probably would be the better option there longer term, and I can see that because I can see what he'd offer, and I go, right, well, we need that in the side right now, but there's not that much that Marmoush offers necessarily that we desperately need. I'm not saying that it's not useful, because obviously it is, but I'll repeat that the key thing that Marmoush offers is goals, and we're doing pretty good at scoring goals right now. It's not necessarily a desperate need to force him into a starting 11 and potentially disrupt the attacking balance that we currently have, because we can chat about, you know, are we good enough defensively? Is our pressing structure good enough? Blah, 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 blah. But what you can't deny is that this season we've been pretty good at scoring goals. I don't know how many more we've got than Arsenal now, but we've increased the gap by a further 2, surely. In fact, guys, should we go to the Premier League table? Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, because he'll start every single game at AFCON, won't he? So big up. Guys, shall we do AFCON watch-alongs? Marmoush FC. I've no idea what time they're even going to be on. We score all the goals all the time. So, when we haul an FC as well. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those greens. Look at that bastard red, though. Newcastle pissing me off. Damn it, man. Damn it. That should have been a draw. Pissing me off. Yeah, so we've scored 35, which is, that's quite a lot. That's 11 more than Liverpool, who have Isak, Verts, Ekitike, blah, 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 Salah, etc., etc. And it's 7 more than the second best in the league, which is the Arsenal. Fenway. This guy. You've done the exclamation mark thing perfectly, by the way. Well done. Well done. Oh, but also I know you, so you don't have to do the exclamation marks for me to tell, but I love how you're doing it. Well done. Just to make it obvious to the chat as well, I guess. Yeah, look at that. We've scored 7 more than second placed Arsenal, second place in the goal scoring charts. So there is no desperate need, even though I like Marmoush a lot, and I think he's a really fun player. It's not like we are gagging to throw him into the side immediately. It doesn't have to happen. There's not necessarily a direct benefit from it, because what's working right now offensively is working. So it's very hard to say, okay, let's give Savio a run of games, let's give Bob a run of games, let's give Marmoush a run of games, because Doku's doing fantastically well, and Cherki is doing fantastically well also. And when Foden played off the right, then moving inside, Foden was playing fantastically well also. So it is not a necessity to give Marmoush game time now, because Doku is doing very well, and Cherki is doing very well, and you're never going to displace Haaland anyway, so that's a non-starter. So it's tricky. It's tricky. It's one of, and it goes both ways, doesn't it? The need has to be there, but he's also got to demonstrate that he can prove it, and it is very hard to do that with limited time. Maybe after AFCON it will be a thing. Perhaps. Shall we get into the player ratings, guys? Cherki gives everyone pleasure. He's a generous man. He's a generous man. Shall we do some cheeky player ratings, guys? This is on the Fanalysis app. Oh, make sure to leave a like on the video, guys, if you want to see a fun football animation. I know you want to. Let's do some cheeky player ratings. As I say, this is on the Fanalysis app. I like to do these on streams just so 2 birds, 1 stone. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And then we can talk about the game a little bit more afterwards, if we so desire, or just have a general chit-chat, because we will be wrapping this up at 8 o'clock. Mrs. Nobbins and I are having a lovely date night. We are having prosciutto wrapped halibut again. It's going to be gorgeous. We made it very beautifully last time. It was one of the best fish courses I've ever had. It was very tasty. Would recommend. You don't need any salt on the actual fish because the prosciutto has plenty. Right. Here are the rules, as always. It's out of 100. If you want to just stick to normal numbers, that's fine, but just give me something with a decimal, so like 5.7, that vibe. Is it actually 3-all? Is that some sort of sick joke? Oh my god. Ain't no way. That's what, in the 90th minute are you having a giraffe? Hello? Hello? Who scored? The Leeds are popping off, man. There you go. The 96th minute. Hello? That's insane. I'm always a happy boy. I think I'm always a happy boy in these streams anyway. For the most part. Look at that. Tanaka. Some boy Tanaka. Japanese goat. What a guy. Big up to him. Was it a sick finish as well? I'll have to watch the highlights later. That's so funny. I mean, that's big for Leeds' survival as well, by the way. They are currently 3 points above West Ham, who have a game in hand now. Big up to the mighty Leeds. They'll give some teams a run for their money. Clearly. My gosh. Liverpool are only 1 point ahead of Spurs now. Jesus, man. Liverpool have scored 24 and conceded 24. Balance. Big brain. Perfect balance. There's still 2.5 minutes, though. That's funny, though. Right, what was I saying? Yes. For these player ratings, 50 is average. I'm not even going to do the ones like low down because no one's getting anything beginning with a 5 anyway. But 50 is average. 60 is above average. 70 is good. 80 is great. 90 is brilliant. 100 is perfect. So 50 is the baseline for average. Anything beginning with a 6, you're above average. Beginning with a 7, you're good. Beginning with an 8, you're great. Beginning with a 9, you're brilliant. Beginning with a 10, well, then you are perfect, aren't you? Okay, as I put my phone on charge. Donnarumma had a good game. So this is a good beginning with a 7, I reckon, for me. He had one thing to do and he did it. So he had a good game by definition, clearly. There's not really much else to say about it, is it? And it was a very good save. Why not just do 1 to 10, why 10 to 100? Because that's how the Finalysis app works. It is out of 100. So that's why. If you'd rather just do it with that, that's fine. But yeah, just do 7.2. And I'll read that as 72. So it's whichever you prefer. But I'm just going to tell you just because it's what the app does. So yeah, so we had a good game. I'm struggling to think of like anything else that happened. I think there was one moment where he was good from a corner as well, which I did like a lot. I think that was very lovely to see. Kept us in at a crucial moment as well. Didn't have much to do building up from the back, and I don't really rank Donnarumma on that in any event. Or rather, I don't hold it against him. That's what I should say. Yeah. Just a solid, no nonsense, good game. I'm gonna give him a. Oh my goodness, they've changed the fonts. That looks much better. Goodness me. Definitely something beginning with a 7. I'm thinking a cheeky 73 personally. A cheeky little 73. I might revise these as I change other players round, but around mid 70s, I think is fair for Big Don. A good game, solid. Nothing to report really. Outside of a gorgeous save, of course. Ruben Diaz. Ooh, you naughty little sausage. You very nearly had a Nunes/Yoshko game against Leeds, didn't you? Naughty. The aforementioned man saved you, didn't he? But outside of that error, which thankfully wasn't punished, so we can talk about him more favourably. Scored a goal. Ruben Dias, yes. Scored the goal. Scored the most important goal, which was the one to break open the game. Isidore is a very challenging striker to deal with, by the way. He is very physical, and he will get in there, and it'll get in and all over you. And I felt that Diaz handled him fantastically well. How many aerials did Isidore actually win? Isidore only won 1 out of 5 of his aerials. That is mad. Diaz won 4 out of 4. This guy saw Twitter slandering him and his ability in the air, and he just locked in this season. Every single time, I do like to keep checking his aerial numbers this season. It seems like every single time this season he's like won more than not, and to win all of them is a bit insane, isn't it? So yeah, defensively a rock, bad with the back pass, but scored a goal. So I think ordinarily, even without the goal, he'd be getting something. He'd be getting like either like a high 6 or a low 7 without the goal. Of course, there's a mistake, but the goal cancels it out and then some. So I'm thinking a high 7 for this one. Herbal says, I'll go 8. Look at him, he didn't score on his bozo mistake. Great goal and did well overall. I'm going to give him a high 7. I'm thinking a cheeky 78. What are you guys saying? 8.2, 80, 79, Hoopen, 88, 83, 75, 71, 78, 82, full-time and Leeds, and the final score was 3-all. Get in. So all of our, I mean, I know they aren't title rivals, but all of our rivals dropped points this weekend. That's hilarious. 75. That was crazy. 8.1, 7.3. Yeah, good. I'm happy with my 78. I'm happy with that. Lucky goal. I mean, we addressed it at the top of the show, though. Like, at some point, the luck goes out, because if you're forcing your opponents to back off, then that's a thing, isn't it? Yoshko. Scored our first direct header, from a corner this season. So 100. No. Yeah. Good game from him as well. I'll repeat that our defenders had very little to do in the game. I don't think he was as impressive on a defensive level as Diaz was, but likewise, the defending that he had to do, he basically did it. And obviously scored the goal. What's the XG on that goal? See, 0.17. I've seen Yoshko have far harder chances this season, because I've seen the XG numbers, yeah? So you're underperforming with your head, yeah? Sort it out. So I think this is going to be another either high 7s or low 8s, maybe. We've got 88, 80, 75, minus 10 for the yellow. Gosh, that's harsh. 84, 80. Set piece FC out of 10. I don't know what that means. 75 under hit one pass that almost was disastrous. Oh, when was that, Fenway? I can't remember that. Was that in the first half or second half, matey? I can't remember that. I've seen better games from Yoshko, 7.7. Yoshko needs to improve his head game, but overall give him a 16. This Spartacus guy, man. On the left to Doku. Was that in the second half or first? I'll obviously rewatch the game. I can't really remember. I don't know why that's not in my head. I don't know why I can't remember that. I will trust you, though. I will trust you. I'm actually... I know this might be counterintuitive, because I know that Diaz did make that potentially costly error. I just felt that Diaz had a better game than Yoshko. Even though they both got a goal, and one could argue that, well, Diaz made a potential error, which nearly led to a goal, so shouldn't you be giving it him? My instinct tells me that Diaz had a better game, though. So I'm going to give Yoshko a 77. Only just slightly, but I just want it to be known No, sorry, 76. So there's only 2 points in it. I just want it to be known that, in my opinion, Diaz had a better game than Yoshko overall, and that is even accounting for the silly error. Maybe, this isn't fair. This is results-based analysis, so maybe that's not fair of me. Maybe my opinion would be different if it actually led to a goal and it mattered, but I can't escape my brain telling me that he had a worse game than Diaz overall, so I think that's fine. Nunes played as a right centre back to start off the first and second half. Pushed up to enable Cherki to do all of his wonderful, lovely things. Did he do anything? Did he have to do anything defensively? Like, really? Not that I can recall. Put in a cross or two. I thought it was fine. It's going to be another good game from him. He didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. He didn't do anything wrong, I think. I think another solid one. Another solid situation. A couple of good switches, I suppose, yes. Nothing too flashy, but there's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I'm just going to go a solid 70, because that is the definition of good game. Absolutely locked in good game from Nunes. What are you guys saying, though? Herbal, I think Nunes was solid, 7.2, 7.5. Yeah, 70, very solid. Solid is the word, isn't it? Very solid, made some good run-ins. Kept his dude quiet, 7.5. 7 had a good game. What was Don? We gave Don 7. Well, sorry, I gave Don 73. I think, obviously, you guys will have had your own rankings. But we were about the same on that, in fairness. So I'm definitely giving Don a higher ranking because Donnarumma had a big save to make, whereas Nunes didn't really have like a big moment. So I think it's definitely fair to rank Don higher than Nunes, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's pretty chill for him. Didn't have too much to do defensively. Didn't do too much offensively. Didn't have to though. He was chilling, steady, great game. Sorry, good game. Other fullback, 7 is average. Nah. Maths does not agree with you. 50 or 5 is objectively average, I'll have you know. Yeah, and if you want to argue, then talk to the person who invented maths. Yeah. Do you know who did that? Mr. Maths. That's who it bloody was. He's called Math. His first name was Math, and his surname was Amatics. Yeah? Senor Amatics. You can argue with him. Yeah? I don't know what I'm saying. Right. O'Reilly. I feel like he should have had a goal somewhere. I feel like there was one shot where we... No, maybe I'm misremembering. Okay. He was a bit busier, which does make sense, because of the change in attacking structure that Sunderland's do, going down the right. Mathematician, yeah. Most people are idiots, Matali, yeah? Most people are wrong. We don't do that out here, yeah? I'm not saying if you're an idiot if you think that, by the way. I'm being cheeky. It's because I have some merch of a shirt that says that. Go buy it. But yeah, by virtue of maths, a 5 is average. I don't care about FootMob and Sofa Score. Yeah? I don't care about FootMob and Sofa Score. They're wrong. I think for O'Reilly we should be talking about another 7 or a 70, there or thereabouts. Maybe slightly higher, because I felt like he had more to do. And he did it well. And he did do it well. Yeah, he was good. He was decent offensively as well. We know that O'Reilly's pivotal to Doku's offensive function. What are you guys saying, though? What are you guys reckoning? Let me know. Spartacus, do you want to get banned, mate? Because I will do it. I won't do it. That's an empty threat. That's a lie. Not only are you a moderator, you're also a hardcore ultra, so that's an empty threat. But I will ban you. I won't. I'm very excited for that halibut, absolutely. What are we saying, guys? 7.3, 7, 77, 76, 78. I'll go 7.2. Feel like a fraud for giving Nunes a better score, says Herbal. To be fair, I back that. O'Reilly improved from his last performance, says City ID. I'm gonna agree with Herbal and give him a cheeky 72. I think that's I think that's good. Another good game from him. There's lots of goods here, lots of steady eddies, and sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes in your defense, you just need a steady, good game. That's all that you need in the world. Sometimes. Nico Gonzalez. Sounds like I'm repeating myself. Another good game. There was one lovely moment where he dribbled out of pressure, like one of the 3 occasions that Sunderland actually did that. He was really good, I felt, at winning second balls and loose balls today. He did get a little bit too aggressive at times, but it never got to the point where it led to anything bad at all. So this is going to be a strong 7, I think, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. What it's gonna for me, it's definitely gonna start with a 7. I can be swayed with what that should end in, though. Let me just have a look at his cheeky defensive actions. Yeah, I'm surprised the recoveries isn't higher, because I thought that he was doing way more work than that with my eyes, but clearly my eyes are wrong. Yeah, definitely Matali. 73, 78, 73, 78, 70, 78, 70, 74, 78, 76, 75 for the clays, 76, 77. Big up to you, mate. Of course he is. 75, 75, 77. He's so important, isn't he? 72. Yeah, I'm thinking... oh, sorry, was it Matali? My bad. I'm thinking I want to give him higher than our fullbacks, so it's got to be higher than them, obviously. I'm going to go... I'm going to go 76. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. 75. No, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. No. 75. There we go. Sometimes he's got to go on instinct. And I put down the 76 and I looked at it and my eyes told me this is not right in my head. Then there's a lot which is not right in my head. So I've gone for a 75. Very, very good. A good game, which is getting close to having a great game. This is the sort of game that you want from your defensive midfielder. Just no mistakes, no errors, does everything wonderfully well, does it quietly, gets on with it, wins the ball back, switches play, helps build out from the back. Lovely performance from him. That's what you want. This broke, and I don't know if it's fixed yet. I'll if I remember, I'll try to check. I'll try to check on the next one. Okay, lads and lasses, of course. Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva. He had a very typical Bernardo game, I would say. He wasn't called into action that much with deep build-up because we didn't need it. He allowed Cherki to go centrally at the start of both halves. Kept it ticking over. That's a good way of putting it, Black. Absolutely. Didn't do anything spectacular. Didn't have to, though, of course. You like the rotations of Cherki's Skibber? Yeah, he did do a lot of that. He provides a lot of function, is the term that I use for players like this. Like Nunes provides offensive function. Bernardo also provides this offensive function. Anything interesting to note with his performance? No, it's just like quite a pretty typical good game, I felt. I don't think he did anything wrong necessarily. Andrew's at the game, big up. He looks hard to underestimate the influence. No, definitely. 70 can't hit a shot into the corner anymore. 6.7 door. Oh, for Bernardo, sorry. 68. I fucked up by giving Nunes a 72. I see that now. Bernardo is better. I just gave Nunes a cheeky 70, so I think that's fine. I am going to give Bernardo a low 70. I'm not going to give him, because I gave Nico 75. I'm not going to give him higher than that. I think a little cheeky 72 is perfectly valid for beautiful Bernardo Silva. I think that's good. That's good. Yeah. Good game from him. And now we get into the attacking players. And this is where we are going to see some higher ratings for a couple of these, I would suggest. Starting with Feel in the middle. Yeah. Good stuff. We didn't need his deep build-up. There was one moment, actually, where it was very nice deep build-up. Apart from that, we didn't especially need it. His switches to Doku out were great. Linked up perfectly well with Cherki. Got the assist from the corner. Scored the goal from Cherki's Rabona. Good off ball as always. There was like a shot in the second half. It closed down, which was nice. For considering the Foden got a goal and assist, it actually wasn't his loudest game, but he just got on with his job outside of those moments expertly and quietly. It's going to begin with an 8. We're not talking about a 9 in my opinion, but it is a great game. Great run to finish off the Cherki move. And a lovely delivery for the corner. So I'm going to give him something beginning with an 8, personally, because that means you've had a great game. A great game. I'm thinking... Wait, actually, no, let me come to the chat first of all. 96, 86, 80, 85, 82, 84, 86, 85, 82, 85, 86, 85, 90, 90, 85, 86, 84, 87. Yeah, absolutely Fenway. 87, 86, 87. Yeah, I think I agree, Matali. 87, 87, 89. I'm not going to make it a high 8s for me. I needed something else to propel it into that. What I probably needed was like Sunderland pressing high and then Foden getting us out of the press for me to be compelled to put it any higher than 85. But I am going to go for 85. I think that's good. He's in between having a great game and a brilliant game. That, I think, is good for little Phil. Right. The man of the match. Ryan Cherki. He was alright, wasn't he? He was fine. You know, it's whatever. I've seen better. Nah, this, yeah, brilliant game from Cherki. Really, really happy. He's so fun to watch. Controlled the game, and we touched on it earlier. Like, one of the reasons why City were a lot more controlled today was because he had Cherki instead of Reinders. Not a diss at Reinders, but it's just a reality that Cherki's got more of that to his game. Fortunate for the first assist, one could argue. Absolutely not fortunate for that second one. It's ridiculous. It's beautiful. It's a Rabona. I'm tempted to give him 100 just for that alone. It's insane. Yeah. It's really good. Really, really good. Well, great, brilliant. Just words escape me of how nice he was today. And he got 2 assists, and as we established earlier, it very well could have been even more than that. Even more than that. What are we saying? What are we saying here? Yeah, that was really cute, wasn't it, Graham? I love that clip of like Foden going like, oh. That would have been, that's literally everyone. That was everyone in the crowd. I was on the opposite end of the stadium and I could still see that Rabona. I was like, oh, how? Cherki is fun to watch, isn't he? Right. 100 for that assist alone. 95, 92, 96, 91, 95, 95, 91, 91, 91, 92. Can't remember him too much, yeah. Naughty assist, true. 92, says Louise. He did try to go for goal, didn't he, towards the end? Could have slipped in Marmouche. Greedy. 5. He was so good. Yeah, exactly. 91 for the French GOAT. Is 101 not allowed? Is it allowed? I'm afraid not. Yeah, this is what I think is a big underappreciated part of his game from today. And in fairness, like not here at all. But of course, people are gonna wax lyrical, rightly so, about the assists. Gorgeous, like the Rabona. But I know the lovely actions in the final third. But yeah, this I think is what I'm most happy about, particularly after the Leeds game and the Fulham game. Like we needed this, and having another player who can do that. In Cherki, we know Foden can do it. We know Nico can do it, and we know that Cherki can do it. So having him there do that is also big. It's also big. What's the highest rating I've given this season? I actually don't know. It probably would have been a Haaland one. I'm not sure. I'm going to give Cherki a low 90, though. I'm going to give him a low 90. It was a brilliant game from him. And I think that's fair. I'm going to go 92. 92 for Cherki. I think that's good. Lovely. Very happy with him. And he's obviously man of the match. Brilliant stuff. Love that from him. Right, 2 left. Oh, then the manager, actually. Jeremy Doku. I think it was False Winger who said this in one of our group chats. Go follow False Winger on Twitter. He said, which I really agree with, that Doku was like standard today. But even so, he created a lot, could have scored, always advancing City up the pitch. And that's almost like his new flaw, isn't it? So if this is sort of like the standard Doku, Sparkus, you do that for every player, mate. If this is now like the standard for what Doku is as a player, we're going to have a good time, basically. If this is his flaw, which I felt was still a good game, it's going to be low 7s, but a good game nevertheless. That is really lovely development. We can sort of expect that even if Doku's like, he doesn't do anything particularly exceptional, doesn't get a direct goal contribution, but he's still able to offer all of this threat in a standard game for him. That's pretty good, I would suggest. So I'm going to give him 72, I think. Yes, I think I'm going to give him a 72. Yes, I think that's fine. Created loads of chances, some good chances also. Struggled sometimes with the duels out wide, but that was a challenge against the back 5. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I have so many receipts. Name them and shame them, Andrew MCFCS. Name them and shame them, the swines. Phone's 1 goal away from KDB in City's all-time goal scorers. That is insane. I know, Graham. He would have been hung for that. 73. This is for Doku, by the way. 72, 73. Exactly Fenway. 77. They were definitely Graham. 70. We've got Nunes. Hello. How you doing, mate? How are you, sir? Thank you for providing this side offensive function. I love that from you. High 7s, high 70s, 73. Mid 7s, 75. 70. I've gone for a cheeky 72 personally. Okay, last player. Big Erling. Tricky one to judge. He had a shot. And it probably should have gone in the back of the net, shouldn't it? Good defensively as always. You know, I know it's not what you want to be saying for your striker, but I thought he was very good as always. Clearing like set pieces and whatnot. Should have scored. I know, Herbal. Yeah, I know. Hold up was like fine. This might be the lowest. This probably will be the lowest rating of the whole thing. It's hard because we know how good Haaland is. It wasn't like it's not like he had a bad game or anything. Like absolutely, but he should have done better with the chance he had. Now he did only have one chance. he should have had more chances. In an ideal world, he has more than one shot on goal, doesn't he? Or just has more than one shot, generally speaking. So there is that caveat. But I'm thinking that it was pretty... I'm not willing to say that he had a good game. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not willing to say he had a good game. I'm thinking something beginning with a 5 or a 6. It's either going to be a high 5 or a low 6. And I can't decide which one yet. It's one of those two for me. I feel like we won. I'm a happy boy, so I'm erring more towards low 6. Based on that. He did miss the chance. It's a good point, Spartacus. He did do that, didn't he? He was working hard. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a low 6 then. I'm gonna give him a cheeky low 6. 60. No, mid 6. 64. Yeah. That's good. So he's still the lowest rated. I think that's good. I think that's good. He should have scored the goal. He should have scored the goal. But there we go. It's fine. No, I've lied. 63. I didn't like how close he was to Nunes, I've decided. 63. That's good. He had one shot. Should have done better with the shot. But at the same time, we should have been giving him more shots. So it's tricky, isn't it? Yeah, I'll need to revisit it, Herbal. I've not rewatched the game, but that's the thing. And then finally, guys, Pep Guardiola. The lineup is, I think, like what most of us would have wanted or anticipated for the most part. He made changes when we went 3-0 up. Perfect. In fact, he made a triple change, didn't he? Yeah, he brought on all 3 of Reinders, Marmoush, Ake on with 20 minutes to go. You're 3-0 up. Perfect. Rest those players. He brought on Rico and Savio. Nice. I don't have any... I don't think he did anything particularly interesting tactically, but he didn't necessarily have to. So yeah, it's probably going to be like something beginning with an 8 for me. What do you guys reckon for Pep? 8.5, 85, 84, 84, 85, 85, 90, 0. I'm not a right centre back. Yes, you are. 85, 90, 85. Rested the right players. Yes, yeah, because who there was? Yeah, because Foden came off, and Joshko came off, and Haaland came off. So yeah, they were good subs. 85, 100 for the squad, learning from the mistakes of the last 2 matches. 9, 95, 85, 84, 90. I'm going to go 83. 83 for Pep. I'm not going to rate the subs because I don't tend to do that unless they make like a mad impact on the game. There we go. Lovely. I'm going to submit my fanalysis. Thank you very much for that, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, sick. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that. Cool. Yeah. I just want to see if I can see what other people put for their rankings. I don't know how to tell what a person did for that one, but there we go. Cool. If anyone's interested, the highest ranked City player so far this season, according to the finalists, is Haaland, 75, average score. Foden, 74, average score is second. Doku, 72, average score is third, which is probably what I would have said are our 3 best players, Haaland, Foden, Doku. So it's good to see that that is being echoed elsewhere. Cool. Excellent work, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy. Anything else we want to touch on in respect of the Sunderland game? There will be a post-match analysis video tomorrow. Don't worry about that. I did it perfectly last time, Fenway, don't worry. And who knows, maybe I'll put a photo of it up on like the YouTube membership or the Patreon if it works out really well. If it doesn't, then I won't do it. If it does, then hey, I might do it. Or I might just forget. We shall see, though. He looked angry on the sidelines. Spartacus, what's going on? Alfie, has anything else to really report? 10 goals in a week. 1 Haaland for 10 goals in a week. 1 Haaland for Haaland FC narratives ought to change. We said it, didn't we? We didn't really accept that narrative on this channel. That, yeah, of course we are, like, reliant on our number 9 to score most of our goals because he's the best striker in the world. And, of course, at some point, we need other players to do that. But they will. Like, they will do that. Foden will get more goals, and so it has come to pass. Now, to be fair, I didn't expect Ruben Diaz to be one of those players. But it's not really a problem for me, and I don't know how many, like, does he have 6 goals in the league now, does Phil? Is that right? So he's well on the way, to get double digits for the season. League goals, yeah, 6 goals. I think that's more than any individual Arsenal player. I think. Let me double check. But I believe that is factual information. I believe that's a factual information, guys. Stats, yeah? Data. Give me the data. Yeah, Phil's got 6, which is, oh my gosh, that's also more than any individual Liverpool player. In case anyone's interested in that little tidbit, Ekitike is Liverpool's top goal scorer in the league, and he only has 5. Now, that's pretty impressive, I would suggest. Yes, it's more than any individual for... And this is our second highest goal scorer, by the way. It's more than anyone for Newcastle, or Man United, Chelsea. In fact, the only teams where it isn't the case is City, obviously. Brentford, Brighton, Palace, Bournemouth, Spurs. And by the way, Bournemouth and Spurs, that's Semenyo, shout out to him, and Richarlison. They're all the same as Phil. So if he gets one more, then he will be joint 3rd. Of course, other people might score. If Arsenal had 3 own goals, it would be Arsenal's 2nd top goal scorer. Is that correct? That's quite funny. Yeah. I think it's just the fact that there was such a big gap between Haaland and everyone else that it became an issue, even though it wasn't really an issue. To be honest. Oh god, I've just been sent by Gasky, big up to Gasky, the England group stage kickoff times. They're all in the late evening. Okay, mate. Well, yeah, I will be streaming them all. So 9 p.m. 17th of June, 9 p.m. 23rd of June, and 10 p.m. 27th of June. We'll be streaming all those games. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's hope there's no England games on at ridiculous o'clock. Yeah. I love that from you, True Citizen. Arsenal had their share of injuries to forwards. It's true. But they also don't really have like a dedicated goal scorer either. Yeah, of course I'm going to stream them. Yes, the World Cup. Yeah, I'm going to stream the World Cup games. Come on, True Citizen. And I don't stream the friendlies or the qualifiers because I don't give a fuck about them. But I'll do the knockout games, of course. The group stage games, of course. It's the World Cup. And we'll do many games from the World Cup. The next game for City is absolutely Real Madrid. So that's not going to be easy by any means. But we're in some good form. We are in some good form right now. And why can't we beat them? Yeah? Why can't we win? Or why can't we do well against them anyway? We don't necessarily have to beat them. A draw would technically probably be good enough if we also win our final 2 games, which are far more winnable on paper. But why can't we? Why can't we do well? There. We shall see what we see. Unless there is anything else that is pressing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm thinking of wrapping up the stream. Any final thoughts? Any final comments? I did want to say a big up to my gorgeous members. I keep all of these. I sleep with them under my pillow as I cry to myself to sleep at night, every night. Big up to Ben. Welcome to the Ultras Club, matey. The Hall of Fame is about to go past the screen and you will be on it next time. Just like that. Jack, thank you so much. It's 4 months. Love that from you. Spartacus, 13 months of hardcore is insane. Thank you, matey. Absolutely, Metali. If you want to support the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do it. To do it for free, leave a like on the video. That's a minimum. Everyone should be doing that. Everyone should be paying like rent, yeah? If you want to go the extra mile and you want some live stream perks and you want to get into this Hall of Fame like all of these beautiful people, then why not consider becoming a channel ultra as Ben has done today? The link has been provided by the Nobbot there. Perhaps you're more of an offline viewer if you're watching this on the replay and you prioritize more of an ad-free viewing experience. Well, good news for you, because I've got the Patreon for you instead, where all of my content goes early access and the streams go there also ad-free, of course, because it's away from YouTube. You also get exclusive videos on both those platforms. And that's a final way. If you want if you're like, okay, Nobbins, that's all well and good, but I don't care about artificial perks. I don't care about something virtual. I want something physical. Well, I've got you covered as well, because I have a merch site, LNobbins.com, to get lovely hoodies, shirts with logos like this and many, many more, or maybe you want some artwork instead. It's all there. Match analysis video will be dropped on the channel tomorrow of the Sunderland game. The next stream will be on Tuesday for Touchline Talk. Yes, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Make sure to join me for that. Which one did I forget, Jack? Yes, we are also live on Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening. That's free to follow. If you want more Nobbins in your life, that's the place to go. ! MySpace and mingle.com. I've pressed the end button. Goodbye, guys.